Granddad Business with Aaron Kleiber. That's my dad. Hello! Underpants? That is hilarious. You should mouth to rate and review this podcast or my daddy will go into a deep depression. Going down business with Aaron Kleiber. Yeah.
Boom. Welcome to Grown Dad Business. This is Aaron Kleiber. Got a fun week this week. My guest is a longtime friend of Pittsburgh comedy. And he's finally a dad. We're going to talk to Terry Jones in a minute. Swag. See what to say immediately. And then I would give him the double tap and salute. Our handshake. But before we get started, if you guys want to see me live this weekend, guys, I'm in Houston at the Houston Improv with John Witherspoon and some other places. I'll be coming to Cleveland. I'll be coming to, I don't even remember. Go to Aaron Kleiber, aaronkleiber.com, stuff like that. And my other podcast, if you like movies, me and Sean Collier, handlethetruthpodcast.com. We do real movie reviews for real. And shout out to one of our sponsors, Ignite Hospitality. If you're a comedian, entertainer, magician, juggler, yo-yoer, that's all people I know by name, by the way. Check out Ignite Hospitality because Adam at Ignite Hospitality barters hotel rooms for you very cheaply. It is amazing. I stayed in downtown Chicago 2 weeks ago in a $300 a night Hilton for $40 a night. That's what Adam does for you. It's amazing. I got a couple other things coming up that he's hooking me up with amazingly cheap hotels. It's a little bit different than like Expedia and stuff like that. He'll explain everything to you, but trust me, it's worth checking out Ignite Hospitality. And that's about it. But we're going to get right into it with my friend Terry Jones. Hello. Swag. See, there it is.
What's going on, man?
Man, it's always funny when I do a podcast with someone I've known for a long time.
Yeah.
It's fun because it's fun to do an interview with someone that you don't know, like you just know them. Like if you work a weekend with a comedian, it's like, oh, I get to know you and ask you questions, But Terry and I've known Terry since I started stand-up.
Yeah.
When I started, you were the guy. So. You were one of the guys at the Improv working. And now Terry is, you're doing your second album.
It's actually my first album.
It is?
I had a DVD. The first project I did,
you had a DVD.
Was a DVD.
Well, it's an album,
Yeah.
But this is your second album, kind of.
Yeah.
Pretty much,
yeah.
And if you're listening today, August 11th, he's headlining tonight at 10 p.m.
Yes.
At the Pittsburgh Improv, if you're from Pittsburgh, and also Sunday the 14th at 7 p.m.
Yep.
Terry Jones at the Pittsburgh Improv, and Terry's really busy. It's rare you get to see him do a headline show in Pittsburgh that isn't a fundraiser out in the middle of nowhere for a little league team.
That's hilarious.
It's true.
Yo, that's the people, bookings, man.
You know how people are like, "Where can I see you?" I'm like, an hour and a half away at a VFW raising money for firefighters
in Johnstown.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, why aren't you at the Improv a lot anymore?" And I'm like, "Because I want you to buy tickets when I headline."
Yeah.
That's why. Because it's funny because people
story.
don't get it. Like when you headline, you want people to come and buy tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. And
but then people are like, "Oh, I'll come see you when you're with Ralphie May."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No." I was like, "No, don't. That ain't for me." Like that's.
It's true, man. Because I run into that issue where you know how like it upsets you as a comic where your friends will. Like, go see like a big name headliner.
Don't even get me started.
At 11 p.m. on a Thursday and pay $45 a ticket.
Don't even. Do you see my look I'm giving you?
Yes, that look is. And then they'll complain like, wait a second, you're doing a show at 8 p.m. on Thursday for $15? No. And it's like, oh, man.
Oh, no. I will have people that I've known for a long time, high school, college friends, and they will be like, oh, we want to come see you. And I'll be like, I am headlining. I'm doing 1 hour. For free. I'll give you free tickets. And they'd be like, I don't know, that's pretty far for us. That's pretty far. And then the very next week, they'll pay $30 to come see Elijah Schlesinger. And I'll see pictures on Instagram like, we're at the Improv. We got to meet Elijah Schlesinger. And I'm like, are you for real?
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
My favorite is this one. I know you got this one. Yo, I came out to support you. And it's like, no, I just happened to be opening for the person that you came to really support.
Yeah, right.
And you're thinking that you're supporting me by supporting this person.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah. Oh, that's my favorite.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's comedy for you, though. It's a fun growth process, though. Gotta admit.
But yeah, when I started coming to the Improv in around 2009, I did my first couple shows. Terry, I know you were going hard. You were like the young dude on the scene, killing it. And I know there's a story that this sounds kind of braggy, but it's I kind of remember it because I did my first show ever at Pittsburgh Cafe, and Matt Light was the host. And Matt told me this story.
Yeah.
It's my first show I ever did, and it was a show. You know, it's one of those shows where a comedian we know would get a bunch of young guys on, so he would bring people.
Yeah.
So it was that was my first show ever, and he was like, "Can you do 15 minutes and bring people?" And I was like, I've done 7 open mics." I was like, "Okay," and I ended up doing 18 minutes. Yeah. Because I was improvising a lot. I did well. I brought like 20 people to this little room and got paid $6. And I did a couple more of those shows for that guy before I learned.
Yeah.
But Matt told me, he said he remembers that show and he remembers, I guess, texting you and was like, there's this fat white dude named Aaron that's really good.
Yeah.
Like this new kid. And I remember
funny.
him telling me that. And I was like, oh, I want to meet Terry Jones. And I remember the first time I saw you, I was like, oh, Terry is dope. Like, he's so good. But it's funny how we grow together and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But here's the thing. Like, I like talking about, you know, how you got started. Obviously, Grown Dad Business. I mean, you have a new baby.
Yes. Which is awesome.
Who is adorable.
Thank you.
And also, this is an adorable comment. Don't ever brush her hair ever. Because
I love the fro, man.
Some of the pictures you have of her with her little hair fro is so adorable.
Thank you.
She is like a baby doll. It's so cute. I've showed my wife. I'm like, look at this hair. Look how cute this is.
I try not to, man, because it reminds me of Huey from Boondocks. So I always try to keep her like fro out. And now it's so long that it goes everywhere. My girl's like, we can't just leave it out. I'm like, come on, we gotta leave the fro out.
That's hilarious. Well, before we get on to dad stuff, when did you start? How did you start doing stand up?
I started when I was 18.
Yeah, you were young.
And I had came to the Pittsburgh Improv to do an open mic. So what happened was, like, one thing I always talk about is, and I don't mind talking about it, you know, is I have depression.
Right.
But like when I was young, I didn't know that's what I had.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just would go through stuff.
Sure.
And was like, I think this is just normal.
Right.
Like sit in the dark and listen to Nerd all day. That's not normal. So what ended up happening was my dad bought this box set of Richard Pryor. And it was every single album, including his unreleased tracks. I burned them all on an MP3 CD. Okay. This is how long back it was.
Right.
Because, you know, iPods wasn't out yet. So it was an MP3 CD player. I put every single album on there, and I would listen to it at night before going to bed.
Right.
And I would laugh, and I was like, yo, it amazes me that a man can talk and change your whole mood from, you know, this negative, dark spot to one of the happiest places you could ever be in your life.
Right.
And you're just laughing. You feel good.
Right.
And I was like, yo, I'm sure I want to do this. Because my aunt was a stand-up comic when I was a kid.
Oh, so, I do remember you telling me that.
Yeah, my aunt, and we had a couple bookers that booked me that used to book her back in the day.
Wow.
Like in Ohio and, you know, Maryland and stuff like that.
And what's your aunt's name?
Cookie Jones. She
just went by Cookie Jones.
Yeah, and she was around like during the Def Jam era and stuff.
Wow, early 90s?
Yeah, early 90s, mid 90s. I think she stopped around 98.
Wow.
But you know, I had a lot of influence around me, so I was like, I gotta try.
Yeah.
So I tried it. I'll never forget my first outfit I had on stage.
Oh my God.
I looked like an R&B singer. Like I looked like I was a member of Drew Hill. I had on.
He said Drew Hill.
Drew Hill. I gotta send you a picture
like
of this outfit.
The fifth member of Blackstreet.
Yo, I no diggity. But it was like I had some boots on with like these Pepe jeans, okay, with a blazer, like a black blazer with a button up and a fedora type hat and braids, okay. I went in there like, yo, I'm so fly, man. I'm gonna mix the old school with the new school.
You look like an extra from Harlem Nights.
Bro, I did, man. I look crazy. And everyone.
Well, at first you see that, you kind of like that flashy, you know.
Yeah.
Just like anybody that joins a band, you know,
Yes.
you all of a sudden change your attire.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I couldn't help it, yo. Because, you know, when you think of comedy, you don't realize the steps that go into comedy.
Oh, yeah.
You just think you're going to go one night, kill it, and then everyone's going to take you on the road. You're going to be on Comedy Central, HBO in like a year.
Uh-huh.
Like you have these fantasies in your head that don't make no damn sense.
Right.
But so that was me. I was this 18-year-old kid, and I went up, and I was like, 5 minutes, man, that ain't enough time. I'm going to go up there and kill it. And I thought it was Jay-Z. Like, I was I'm going to be like Jay-Z. So I didn't write material. I had, like, these bullet points.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
now we could do bullet points.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
at that time, you know, it's
Right.
like you need to write out your material. So I did it. And I didn't get through like the full 5 minutes.
Right.
And I was just like, hey, how's everyone doing? And they're like, oh, he's cute. He's 18.
Doing crowd work
Yeah.
at 3 minutes and
At
30
3
seconds.
And I did a lot of impressions. That's what saved me
Right.
when I was new. And then I just kept going. There was a couple next generation people like who I came up with, like Jeff Conkle.
Right.
Matt Mulchin. I ran into Jesse Joyce the other day. We did a show together.
Yeah.
And Jesse was actually a judge during one of the contests I was in. Like, we were just talking about that. But it's just funny when you see, like, an evolution.
Yeah, sure.
And you go through these different phases of who you want to be in stand-up.
Sure.
So I was, like, doing political comedy for a
Right.
while. Then I went into, like, a character. Then I
Right.
went into urban comedy with no punchlines.
Oh, that's when I started. I was like a black comic.
Oh, yeah,
And
you
people,
was, man.
People
We
still
were
make fun of
laughing
me.
about that.
People like you, T-Ro. T-Ro makes fun of me all the time.
I make fun of you because you was a DJ at one of the most hood bars
I was.
in one of the worst hoods ever in this city.
If anybody knows, I was a DJ at the Phase 2 in Homewood. Sonny, holla at your boy. And people thought I was Nick Nice.
Yo, they definitely
And
did.
also, a little side note, I DJ'd Terry's prom.
Yo, that's the weirdest.
Because when you told me when you
degrees.
graduated, I was like, oh, I DJ'd that prom.
Yo, like, you know how there's the 6 degrees? That's
so
crazy, bro.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It was 2005, right?
Yeah, I graduated
Penn
in
Hills prom.
05.
Dude, I DJ'd that prom.
And he DJ'd our prom. I have
I
to
remember-
find pictures with you as a DJ.
That
Someone has
man,
them.
they gotta have some of them.
Yo, ain't you Nick Nice?
Dude, when I would do proms during those couple years, I'd be like, no, Nick Nice is like 60.
Yo, he is.
He's a lot older.
But he was the only like white
I know.
DJ.
I
that
know.
was- and he's like, he was 60
Well,
with hood.
see, here's the thing, like that kind of thing was kind of part of me. And just going back on what you were saying is like when I started comedy like that, and I've said this quite a few times on the podcast, is that like when I started being funny, all I knew was In Living Color.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I loved, you know, Saturday Night Live, but I just loved In Living Color. I was very attracted to black comedy because all around me I was trying to kind of get along in a neighborhood, in a school where it was a very mixed school. You know what I mean? And you know, some of the black kids are hard to get along with.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. You know, they go through some tough things. Yeah. You know, and so that was was humor.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really gravitated towards black comedy, because it kind of like and I feel like a lot of the themes in black comedy is grown up, you know, hard, things like that. And being a victim of abuse and, you know, moving around a lot, I kind of attached to that. I kind of identified with that a lot. Yeah. Like, I have a lot more in common with you guys than some of my friends, you know, that I had a lot more in common with some of the kids in school than I knew.
Definitely.
And that's why I gravitated towards that. Because you hear, you know, comedians talk about being poor and I'm like, you know, they don't have no dad. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Like, that's me, you know?
Spoke
so,
to you.
yeah, so this is kind of where it came from. And when I started, that's all I knew. Because I did the same thing. I recorded Martin Lawrence on HBO with my Scrambler.
That's the first stand-up I've ever seen, by the way. And
Yes.
it traumatized me.
And I'll tell you what, I VHS taped it.
Yeah.
And it was only the audio because the Scrambler would not work for HBO. So I, no joke, would play a VHS tape with just Martin Lawrence is talking shit. And also his oh my gosh.
You So Crazy?
No. Yeah, it is You So Crazy.
You So Crazy, yeah.
But I loved him. And then early on, I looked recently is that like Martin Lawrence comes out of me in my first year or two.
Oh yeah.
It's
sure.
like I can see his influences in me, and I just got a picture today. I'm gonna post it for Throwback Thursday. Today actually of me. It was like the 2010, and I got huge baggy jeans on and a black T-shirt and a backwards Kangol. I wore that for 3 years. That's so funny.
Yo, that's hilarious. It's funny. Yo, I used to wear backwards fitted hats, and you know, I would go on stage crazy until a comedy legend from around here, and people know him all around. Billy Elmer was like, "Take the hat off. You gotta change your look. You know how many of you there are? It's in the comedy clubs. They're not gonna book you." And I was like, "All right, you're right." So, went by my real name and just kept doing comedy ever since. I did take a break for a little bit because I was having some like personal issues in my life with like drinking and depression.
Right, you talk about that on stage a lot.
Yeah, I do. And I think when I came back from that, I talked about it on stage, and I didn't know if I would be okay doing it.
Right.
And I had like talked to some friends first, and they were like, "Well, are you comfortable with doing it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I'll be okay." And we did a roast of a buddy of ours. He's good friends with you, Danny Palumbo.
Oh yeah, we did the Danny Palumbo roast. Yeah.
And I didn't have like anything prepared.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, "Hey, come out."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right." And that was like one of the.
I
first
remember
times
that
came
because we
out.
wanted like hitters on it. We wanted to like have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the jokes, I was just like, "Yo, I gotta like come back hard," because there was like all these jokes. I'll never forget. Derek Minto had this joke where he said, "Hey, he's like, there was a lot of talk about Terry Jones, and he hasn't been around lately. So what? When Obama got in office, you just decided to quit?" And I was like, "Shit, I gotta come back." So, you know, it helped though that time off, and it helped me like as a comic to be able to talk about stuff that I want to now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, totally. For me, I mean, people ask why you do comedy, and I'm like, because I'm selfish. I like the attention.
Yeah,
it's something
at least
that
you're being honest though.
Yeah.
That's an honesty.
I mean, I tell people all the time that it feels good. It makes me feel good. It's my therapy. It's my drug. Like that's what it is.
It really is a drug, man.
Oh, dude, I tell people all the time. Like, I think the longest I've gone without being on stage, I think is 10 days in the last 7 years.
Wow.
And it made me nuts.
Miserable.
Like, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, I gotta get on stage. I'm gonna lose my mind. Like, this is it's making me crazy.
And some people don't understand that.
No, you don't understand.
They can't get it because we have a certain mentality. Like, we are Randy Ram from The Wrestler. Like, when he gives that speech at the end, like, no one's gonna tell me I'm done until it's you guys. And like, this dude has a heart attack giving the Ram Jam. Yeah. And that's what I always think of with comedy.
That's
you know
funny.
what I mean? Like, any comedian, I'm like, yo, we are The Wrestler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're looking at Randy Ram and you're like, yo, you don't know anything. Like, you can meet. Seinfeld said something where he was talking about he has a family.
Yeah.
That he's known for years. His wife, his kids, everyone. But he can meet a comic that's only been doing comedy for like 3 months, talk to him for 5 minutes, and have more relatable stuff than his family.
Sure.
And it's not disrespect to people we love. It's just that it's kind of like superheroes if you think about it.
Well, you have to. It's really easy to talk to people that know what you're going through.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. Comedians are like, oh yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get along very well, very easily.
We could tap into the material. We could tap into jokes. We could tap into personal stuff.
Oh yeah, traveling and all the stuff we deal with, and a lot of the comedians, our relationships are very similar.
Yes,
whether it's dating, marriage. I mean, I talk to a lot of comedians about marriage and having kids, and like even comedians that I meet, younger comics on the road or festivals. It's like they're messaging me like, hey man, we're having a baby. I'm having a tough time, dealing with being on the road. Like, how do you make it work? Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of part of my ministry now. It's like I talk to young comics that are, married or start having kids, and they're like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, your wife's got to be awesome, and I got the best one. So, I mean, but no, really, it's a lot of that stuff.
No, you did. I mean, that's one thing that you were blessed with, man. You have a amazing wife.
Ugh,
Very nice.
She's amazing.
Beautiful woman.
She's
too.
so amazing. I look at her, I'm like, I can't believe she had
kids.
3 kids. I tell her all the time, I'm like, I can't believe you're my woman. Like, you are my wife. This is crazy.
I
don't deserve
smiling.
it. She's
Every
wonderful.
Every time I see her, she's smiling. And the kids are beautiful.
And my kids are
beautiful.
awesome.
Little fire cat.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Luke the
she's
Nuke
adorable.
and Becca the Professor. They all got and one names.
And what?
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody.
Like they're going to be on Street Hoops. That is hilarious. And one names.
Yeah.
Yo, only you would come up with that reference.
Yeah, that's my kid. I gave my kids and one names.
I bet you told someone, like a white dude, that, and he was just like, "Oh,
Someone
what do you
just
mean?
said
What's
to
and
me.
one?"
Yeah, someone just said to me in Chicago was like, I was talking about giving my kids nicknames. He's like, oh, like and one. I was like, yeah. It was a black dude, though. It was a black dude.
I knew it was a black dude.
Exactly. And I was like,
and
yes, exactly.
Yo, half man, half amazing.
Yeah.
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Yep.
Spider.
High Tower? No. There's a bunch of them.
There
was a dude from my high school, actually, that was actually in one of my jokes. And I can't remember his and one name. He was very short-lived, but he's from Still Valley. And dude, no joke, I'm watching and one videos one day, like in college. Yeah. This is like 2003.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
big.
what the? I was like, that's Jim Bursey. I was like, he was very good in high school.
Yeah.
You know, just didn't have the grades, to go to big colleges, but I think he played college, and this must have been right after college, or he might have done 2 or 3 years of college. And I can't, for the life of me now, I can't remember his and one name because I want to look it up again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But no, like I nickname my kids, and I know, you have fun with your daughter.
Yes.
Because my kids are cartoon characters. You know what I mean?
Yo, that's a good way of explaining
Oh,
children.
my son is a cartoon character.
Oh, yeah.
Like someone drew him and invented him. Like he's such a goofball. But it's fun that and I don't do as many like characters and voices as you do on stage.
Yeah.
But like that's the fun thing about it. And that's something that you are like pretty known for is you have some really great impressions.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I mean, like some of the impressions that I've heard you do, I've always said like Jay Farrow do them as good. Yeah. And that's a compliment. I mean, that's true.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
I mean, like,
which we came up on YouTube around the same time.
Yeah.
And we were the only guys doing 50 Cent impressions. So one day I get a phone call.
Yeah.
And it's, quote, I'm doing air quotes here, 50 Cent cussing me out about doing an impression of him. And I'm like, yo, who is playing on my phone?
That's so funny.
I get a phone call back, and it's Jay Farrow, like, yo, man, you shouldn't be leaving your phone number on the internet for booking, right? He's like, yo, what's going on? And then, like, we just hit it off.
That's crazy.
And then, like, so I pranked him as Eddie Murphy when he got SNL.
Yeah.
And then, like, it just became like that.
That's
thing.
hilarious.
But it was funny. But no, I appreciate it, man. I love the impressions. It's fun.
It's cool because like you were involved in a short-lived like radio show.
Yeah.
And I know I was really excited because Jim Krenn, a Pittsburgh radio legend, I remember, and this is like a small sliver of kind of how this happened. I know you guys talked about it a lot, but I remember talking to Jimmy when he was starting a radio show, and he's like, I want to have a radio show that's kind of like Saturday Night Live and have people do characters and voices. I remember talking to Jimmy, and I go, well, Terry Jones, right? Like and he goes, yeah. And it was funny because the day I was talking to him, he was coming to Pleasure Bar. Or no, you were at my Comedy Sauce show.
Yeah.
Every Monday in Pittsburgh at Pleasure Bar in Bloomfield, I do Comedy Sauce. Pittsburgh Comedy Showcase. You were on that, and I go, come hang out and chat with Terry.
Yeah.
So Jimmy came to Comedy Sauce that night. I know you guys hit it off, and then you did a show together.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
Like you guys hooked up at a show, and then that was it. And then how was that for being? I mean, you guys were only on for a year. Radio's a hard business.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, whatever happens. It's very whatever. Who cares? But what I'm saying is, how exciting was it for a short time? I mean, I know I was really excited because I'm like, you get an outlet to do characters and voices and write sketches, like in real entertainment. And sure, like we do it on YouTube, and you have some hilarious parody videos.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Your Panther.
Oh yeah, the Black Panther.
Go look up. By the way, I'm not, because we're friends, or I'm not trying to. I played that over and over in my car on YouTube when I was driving the one day and just repeated it because it was like hypnotizingly funny.
Good look.
I don't know how to. Yeah, that's the best way I can put it.
I tried to make it as nerdy as possible
so,
for like comic fans because there's so many references in there. There's one where I talk about like Doombots trying to take over Spanos.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But it's a cross between that song Panda and Black Panther and Coming to America.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like all this nerddom just smashed together, and I'm like, this is so ridiculous.
Oh, thanks, man.
But like, it had to have been fun. Like I said, obviously, you do it on stage, you do it on YouTube and stuff. But it's like now it's like a big morning show.
Yeah. And
you get to do characters. I mean, how was that experience? That's fun.
It was
especially
fun.
With a legend like Jim Krenn.
Yeah, it was fun, man. The one thing I'll say is he taught me a lot, and about like putting the characters together.
Right.
Because my mind usually moves faster than I could write sometimes, and that's an issue where that's why I like performing.
Yeah.
More than writing. A lot of times.
Right.
Like I can write for people, but when I write for myself, it's difficult.
I know.
So
I could sit there if a headliner's like, "Hey, could you listen to my set and punch it up?"
Yeah,
I will come out with just a book. I'm like, here, you have 48 jokes. I've punched up all 45 and added 9 jokes for you. It's so easy to punch up somebody else.
It is. So, he was doing that for me as well because there were certain impressions that he couldn't do that I could. And he was like, "Oh, I think this would be great."
Right.
So he would write these like really good skits.
Right.
And the one thing about him is he's a brilliant writer, and he's been in the game for a long time, so he knows what he's talking about. So he would write up these skits, and I would just do them, and then I would come up with a concept, and we would write together on a lot of skits. So like Samuel Jackson cooking show, it's Dessert Mother, and then it has the bleep, and then we had Morgan and Morgan Attorneys at Law, or Freeman and Freeman. I'm sorry, it's Morgan Freeman and Morgan Freeman. Just little stuff like that was like so dumb that it was funny.
Well, I remember I did write with him for a little bit. I think before it was all before the radio show. Yeah. It's when he did his Biome show. And I sat on his back porch for like 6 weeks helping him punch up some stuff when he was writing that joke about his dogs having celebrity voices.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, this is so silly and hilarious. And I remember helping punch him up with that and working on his Biome show and stuff. And what's great about it is when you work with someone like that who just totally like an improv term, but yes ands you because he completely gets what you're saying. Yeah. Like he's like, oh yeah, and yep, boom, and you're like, yep, and like it just, he's really great at working like that.
Yeah, so that aspect of, unfortunately, there were some issues at the radio station, but with the actual skit writing and stuff, because we even did it for the podcast, and that was an idea I had where he was
the
like,
No Restrictions podcast,
and he was like, yo, I want to come up with these skits for it, and I was like, look, I have an idea. We make it like it's radio on a podcast, right? Because that's what you're used to, right? We riff it up, we have the stories ready, but we pretended the skits are sponsors.
Oh, right, right.
That's why, like, it was like, hey, here's our sponsor, check out this TV show, and people loved it because there's not many podcasts that do that anymore. No. So there's a.
I think that like Comedy Bang Bang kind of does stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think National Lampoons still has like a podcast that does stuff like that.
And they're great for that.
Yeah.
So, it was unique because you have all these podcasts where, some of them are like 4 and 5 hours of people just talking. Yeah. And that's no jab at anyone. I love a lot of the podcasts like Rogan, Mark Maron and stuff. Right. But, I think a lot of times they talk about some really awesome stuff. And then there's also some comedy involved. But like this was a pure comedy podcast where it was just comedy. And we'd have some serious moments. But I enjoyed the skits to kind of like throw off that and just,
And it's just cool now that like, you're off the radio show, but you went right into like, okay, I'm doing this new album
Yeah.
called Limbo Negro.
Yes.
Which
yes.
some white people are like, what the fuck? What does that mean? I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I kind of get it because I understand you. I know you enough. But I'll just say again, tonight, August 11th, 10 p.m. at the Pittsburgh Improv, he's headlining. And then Sunday, 7 p.m., August 14th at the Pittsburgh Improv, you're recording your new album, Limbo Negro.
Yes. So this album I've been wanting to work on for maybe about 5 years.
Yeah.
And I just never had an opportunity.
Sure.
Then once I did the podcast and got on radio, it was like, your
Right.
schedule, you're stuck
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So where I was transitioning to go work with bookers that book on the road.
Right.
It's like, yo, we'll talk to you in 2017 instead.
Right.
And,
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's good timing.
Right.
And I could get this stuff done.
Right.
There's a lot of projects I didn't get a chance to finish, so now I can go into my own
Sure,
thing.
yeah.
Limbo Negro, the whole history of it is that in America, there's considered two types of Negro. You're either a good Negro or a bad Negro. So when people hear that, if someone's listening and you're not black, you're thinking, oh, a bad Negro would be somebody that's a bad guy, like a criminal.
Yeah.
A good Negro is somebody who's an upstanding citizen.
Right.
But it's actually a weird definition. The good Negro is actually someone like Stacey Dash, who's on Fox News all the time.
Oh,
who's
yeah.
bashing, black movements
I understand.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And, going against our culture.
Right.
A bad Negro is someone who stands up for the culture.
Who's challenging that status quo that's basically written out by white men.
Exactly.
Right.
So
like this is how you should be behaving.
This is how I'm gonna live my life.
Right.
So, we were joking about it, but like a bad Negro would be someone like Dick Gregory. Comedic genius, but he's so political
or someone like Paul Mooney, or even Richard Pryor. Absolutely.
Richard Pryor, I would consider probably the first public limbo Negro.
Yeah, you're right.
I would say, and the only reason I say this because when Cosby came out, Richard Pryor was clean like Cosby, and they had the same.
But Cosby has always been the good Negro.
Yes, and the crazy thing about it is he's really a limbo because he was militant off stage, but what people were upset about is they're like, okay, you're making all this money, and he was doing like charitable work and all this great stuff, but they're like, can you help us publicly? So he would speak about like black culture in the negative spots, but people were like, go on stage and say something. And where Pryor was considered a civil rights leader because he was going on stage, he was using the N-word and taking the word from white people. So back then they were offended. They're like, yo, who's this black dude using our word?
Oh yeah, he talked about police,
everything. But he also like walked that fine line. So like the definition of limbo Negro that I came up with was that it's somebody that you meet because you know me.
Sure.
And I love comic books. I love nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I went to a good school. I'm educated. So when I talk, people are like, oh, he's one of those good Negroes. Yes, he'll just do what we say.
Yeah.
And then like something happens with police brutality or something dealing with our culture being like destroyed or attacked. And I speak up and people are like, whoa, wait a second. We didn't know you had an opinion.
That's interesting you say that because I just had a conversation with a comic about accents. Yeah. Like you're saying the way you talk, right?
Yeah.
So, and we were talking about, and it was a very enlightening conversation because someone was saying like, when a white guy's talking like or a black guy's talking like a white guy.
Yeah.
And like, I sometimes see that from the lens of like a black man where I'm like, so what you're saying is someone with a good vocabulary is white and cannot be black.
Absolutely.
And then because it turned around and someone said, oh, sometimes you talk black on stage. And I was like, no, that's not what it is. What it is, it's class. All it is class.
It's all class, and people don't get that.
It's not black-white because there are white dudes. Like I can turn my 1998 accent right back on. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's class. It's the environment that I lived in.
Yep.
A low-class neighborhood. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
And I equated it to exactly English accents. There are two major English accents, and that's British RP and Cockney. Is the difference black and white? No. It's class.
It is. Absolutely.
So and you do that voice, you know what I'm talking about? Dude, like, oh, it's lame all white then? Yeah, it's lame all white. Like, that dude's black or white.
Yo, you have no idea. Like,
you know what I'm
Idris
saying?
Elba?
Yeah.
When Idris is talking?
Oh,
like,
my God. When he talks Cockney?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And,
It's real gangster. It scares me.
It's really. So, you know.
What did he do that? When did he do that? He did that.
Like, in a movie?
He does like that on Luther sometimes. He gets real angry.
Yeah, well, it was that.
What am I thinking of?
Oh, crap. There was another movie he was in. Did you ever see Takers?
No.
He was in that with T.I. and
yeah.
Like,
when I saw him in The Wire, I was like, I can't believe he's English.
Yo, he said
That
it
blew
would
my
freak
mind.
people out because they'd be like, yo, what up, Stringer Bell?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, hey, how you doing?
I know.
And he'd be like, yo, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're right.
But
it is
but yeah,
class,
I
bro.
just it is. And
a great example of that in
Yeah.
comedy, Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
Bill Hicks is one of my favorite comedians all the time. If you know comedy and you study and you pay attention to Bill Hicks, you can tell that Richard Pryor was one of his biggest influences. Now, keep in mind, Bill Hicks comes from the South and was a child preacher.
Right,
Just like Kennison, just like Roseanne.
Yep.
They have like a specific way.
Right.
And like Chris Rock was influenced by Sam
Right.
Kinison because of that preaching
Yeah.
thing. So when you look at Bill Hicks goes on stage and the way he talks,
Right.
you would be like, yo, like in the 80s, you'd be like, yo, he's kind of talking black a little bit.
Yeah, right.
But it was really that this is just a dude
Right.
that was a product of his environment.
Right. Absolutely.
And, you know, that's what people don't understand. And like you said,
Right.
it is class. But
Yes.
because of how closed-minded the country is, we
Right.
switch it to a race situation.
Yeah.
So growing up as a kid, I would like Star Wars, when I
Right.
would come from Penn Hills to Garfield, and they'd be like, oh, you white. Oh, you acting white. Oh, you white, dog.
Right.
Oh, you white. Oh, you. And so I had like a leather Penguins jacket. They're like, yo, that jacket's hard, but you white, yo. And so my cover, the album cover, is
Right.
me as a kid in a leather jacket with cowboy boots on a big wheel.
Oh, my God.
In Garfield. And
It's hilarious.
with a box fade.
I love it.
And it's because like when I had those cowboy boots on, they made fun
I
of me
remember you
so
talking
bad.
about the cowboy boots.
But it's like, yo, to me, I thought it was cool, like my
Yeah.
dad, like Clint Eastwood.
Right,
You
right,
know what I'm saying?
right.
And so, you know, that was like, my whole life was really like walking
Right.
in between those worlds and seeing both sides of the
Right.
world. So that's why I came up with that limbo.
I can
name.
totally, I love it,
Yeah.
and I can totally relate. And I know when you came up with that name, I was like, I get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Well, you would.
Yeah, no, I
You know what
totally
I'm
get
saying?
it.
You would definitely get it.
I'm kind of a limbo white guy. I'm a limbo
Yeah.
Anglo-Saxon. I get it. I like walking in both worlds. And it's funny too because one other point on that, just about like accents and class, is that people will say, and this is when I really shut them down because then they'll be like, no, that's a black accent, and I'll be like, well, I mean, sure. The majority of people that talk like that are black because in the last 80 years, the systematic racism of white men in the government and business have pushed them into low-income neighborhoods. But anyway, what's your point?
That's real shit, my man.
You know what I
My
mean?
man.
I mean, so then they're like, oh, but I'm like, yeah, because that's what happened.
Yo, I mean, it's crazy because there's all these situations that's been going on in America with race.
Yeah.
And then I get people that hop on my social media and they try and attack me about me standing up for it. But the thing is, like, I had this one thing where they attacked Justin Timberlake for being inspired by Jesse Williams. Now,
Right.
here's my thing
Right.
with Justin Timberlake. I don't have a problem with Justin Timberlake being a musician the way he is.
Right.
Now, when people say that you're mocking the culture or taking over the culture, it's when, and the problem is, like, you'll get like black dudes that be like, yo, I'm gonna give you the black card. Here, take the black card.
Yeah.
Like they don't finance it, they don't
Right,
lease it.
right.
You know, you're not renting it. They're just like, you black now, you black.
Right.
So he's around all these black people and he's like, oh, okay, I guess it's just cool to do stuff.
Right.
So what people get upset about is when something bad does happen dealing
Right.
with black culture, someone like Justin Timberlake isn't standing up.
Right.
Now, Macklemore actually has been saying stuff. He's like the only dude.
Right.
But it's usually like these
And
people
I
attacking the
can
culture.
understand that.
So I posted something, a story about Justin Timberlake
Right.
doing that. Some guy comes on like, oh, well, I guess so does that mean Lenny Kravitz can't do rock and roll then since he's black? And then
It's a good point.
And then here was my
It's a
argument.
good point. Well, I know. Yeah.
My argument was the first rock and roll musician was a black woman.
Yeah.
She blended gospel with rock.
Yeah.
And then rock and roll was
You could
created
name a
in
bunch
the
of
black
people.
community. I mean, we're talking Fats Domino.
Oh, yeah.
Chuck Berry.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Little Richard. So rock and roll was created in
Yeah.
the black community.
Yeah.
So when I gave
What you
him the
need
history,
to be doing is hating on Elvis.
Yeah, for real.
Who straight up took black people's
everything.
songs.
like my man, what's his name? Took Little Richard songs all the time.
Oh,
I forget the dude's name. Old singer, he'd be like Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy.
Robert Goulet.
No, close enough.
Doop doop doop. That's Domino. Robert Goulet.
But that's hilarious. But like that's the thing, and I start sending him these links, and all these people just start like teaching him history.
Right.
And all he could do was like shut up.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh well, I'm sorry, we actually took that too.
Right.
So it's like you can't say that he's doing Slash is black.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is a black man doing rock, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, how could he do that?"
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
But when
He
is
has
it a
every
point
right
where
to.
it's like this is for everyone?
Yeah, I think
There's got to be something like that where like white people aren't allowed to do this. Well, I mean, you don't want to be like that.
No,
You don't. I mean,
I don't
I
think it's
understand the thinking of it. I understand. I don't think Justin Timberlake had any ill will towards that at all. I think,
No.
I mean, he obviously,
he don't know any better
yeah, I mean, I think that
in that situation.
Sure.
that he got
And I didn't
attacked
think he said anything like that was like too. It just kind of triggered some people.
It did.
I understand that, but it's kind of like I don't know. It's hard because it's me sitting here thinking like I want everyone to be different and to celebrate diversity, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want everyone to be one people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
And
think-
sometimes some people, it scares me. I'm like, no, don't like. You're different, but you're not. Like we're all human beings. You know what I mean? We're all like just children of God. That's what I think. So it's kind of weird. Like no, don't like. Like I don't want you to like go move away from us or something like that, or you know what I mean? Like we're gonna start like communities and like no,
They'd be separate.
even though they kind of are sometimes,
but
I don't want that. You know what I mean?
I think you can blend the cultures. I think the difference is as long as the person respects the culture.
Sure.
Versus, like when you look at Iggy Azalea and people were upset with her,
Right.
it was a situation of a girl coming from Australia and
Oh, I
doing a
know.
New York accent.
Oh,
like
I
sounding
know.
like Lil' Kim. But she didn't understand where the
Right.
culture and the history comes from.
Right.
So
It was almost like
you
an
know,
opposite of like blackface soft shoe.
Yes.
It was.
Pretty much.
I'm
But like,
with
then
you on
you
that.
look at like my favorite rapper, Eminem.
Yeah.
Eminem, at the end of the day, I don't care if he's white. The
Right.
dude spits ridiculous
Right.
lyrics. Like, I never heard anyone do wordplay with Batman as much as this dude
Right.
does. But it's the idea that
Right.
it's a respect to the culture. He says it.
Right.
His boys say it.
And
I
I've
think
I've
that's the
said this
difference.
before too, and then we'll move on. We're getting too deep, but that's fine. I love this. This might be a 2-part podcast. I don't know.
Hey,
We haven't even
swag.
talked about your family and your child yet. But no, one of the things I have talks with comedians all the time where they'll say, "Hey, you do really well in front of black audiences," and I'm like, "Well, it's just I've been around black people my whole life. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I know how to make people laugh.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
includes black people. Like it's just and they're like, yeah, but you could tell you're from somewhere or something like that. I'm like, yeah. And the thing is when you have that authenticity, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think that, and this is coming from Guy Torrey told me this, is like he said, black people know that you know black people.
Yeah, you could tell.
Like, because when a white comic goes up there and tries to like, quote, black it up,
Yeah.
they know they're faking.
Oh yeah, you could tell.
And you know what I mean? And and that's a good point. And I'm like, okay, well, I never thought of it that way. But yeah, that's true.
Remember, did you see the what was it, Opie and Anthony, where they roasted Rick Voss for being on Def Jam?
No.
Oh my God, I'm gonna send you the YouTube link.
No.
But they roast him for being on Def Jam and are making fun of his jokes, talking about how you know he was trying so hard to like be on
Right.
Def Jam and blend in, and which I think he's a really good comic, but
Right.
when you had those situations, it's you can tell the difference.
Right.
You could tell who's really real and who's not. And I knew from meeting you that you were real, not because you were at the phase or because you had white tennis shoes on, but
That's one of the funniest stories of all time.
yes, you
Did
got
I tell that story?
Oh yeah, you told me. That's why I mentioned it.
Where when I was DJing at the Phase, these two black dudes are sitting there and they go, "He's a cop." I'm telling you, he's a cop. And the other dude goes, nah, he's got white kicks on.
Yeah.
If he was a cop, he would have those black Applebee shoes on.
It's true, though.
That is so funny.
It's true.
Like, if you get it, because undercover cops wear those, like, all
Restaurant.
black,
Yeah.
like, food runner shoes.
Yes, they do. And
Like,
because when we were kids, they were coming up undercover to
Yes.
find out who was selling kids firecrackers. And it was
Oh.
the Asian store, the corner store.
Yeah.
And both of them, actually, in Garfield. So they were grabbing up kids. And someone was like, yo, that's 5-0. He's like, no, it ain't. He's like, yes, it is. Look at his shoes.
Yeah.
His shoes, he got black shoes on.
Yeah.
And then he gripped them up. Like,
He's got orderly shoes
Yeah.
on.
So,
That's
you know,
hilarious.
you could tell the difference. And I think the thing is, you know, like I'm really big into Eastern philosophy and Asian culture. And I love it. But, you know, I also have a respect for the culture. You know, I'm not going to go trying to, like, deny my culture and be like, yo, I'm Asian
Sure,
now.
right.
And I think that's what happens a lot of times. You know, it's pretty painful when you see somebody emulating your culture, and then, like, when the Klan comes, you're standing there like, yo, you got my back, right? And you look to the right and they gone, like a cartoon character.
That's true.
And you're by yourself. So that's what it feels like a lot of times when you have these situations that are happening in the black community where we're like, yo, because I get people to say, like,
I know what you mean.
know,
So it's really, and I understand where people were coming from with the Justin Timberlake thing, and especially the what's her face, Iggy,
Yeah.
was that it's like white people poaching these good things from black people, but then not having their back as friends or a people.
as a people.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I completely understand that. You know, for me to be like, oh, like someone to say like, oh, you like Wu-Tang, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you have a right to.
But like, but I would have my brother's back, like always, because I don't care, black, white, whatever. We're people.
Yeah,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like, and that's that.
One of the coolest moments I ever had where, because sometimes I've had like some, you know, I mean, you've been at these shows. I've
Sure.
had some funky stuff said to me after shows, like racial stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were after a show, me and Bill Crawford were at, we were at Permanis in Oakland.
Yeah.
Okay? And this guy comes up, and all we hear is vinegar. And we go, what? Vinegar. And I'm like, yo, what? So Crawford's like, yo, did he just say that? He's like, vinegar, vinegar, vinegar. I need the vinegar. He was talking about vinegar, but like our minds were like on the same page where we're like, yo, was he saying the N-word? And, you know, Crawford was about to jump on him. And I was like, yo, like.
He almost fought somebody over some fries and vinegar.
Because it sounded too much like the N-word. So it was like one of those moments where it's like, yo, like this is a dude who, you know, he grew up and, and went to city schools and all the hood dudes know him. So it was cool, like seeing somebody who actually does have your back versus, you know, I've had people not have my back. And, you know, so that's the respect of the culture and respecting as a people.
Absolutely.
And that's when you could tell somebody has a real good human heart versus people who are just out and
Absolutely.
mischievous, you know.
Absolutely. So where people can find you, where at? Online?
You can find me online. Everything's at T Jones POC. Twitter.
T Jones
T
POC.
Jones POC.
That's an old name, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's an old.
Because every time I type it in on like Twitter or Instagram, it kind of giggles a little bit because it was Terry Jones, Prince of Comedy.
Yes.
That was when you had a Def Jam name.
Yo, T Jones. It was T. Jones, Prince of Comedy. And I come out and I was a teen and I'd be like, yeah, everybody, how you doing? No punchlines. But like, yeah, you ever go to the house and you take a dump, right? Yeah, right?
My mom is crazy.
Them dumps be crazy. And then everybody goes nuts for no reason. Yeah.
So T Jones POC.
Yeah, T Jones POC. On
.com,
Twitter,
on
Instagram,
and everything. Yeah.
Facebook, MySpace.
Yep.
My website is teamterry.tv.
Oh yeah, teamterry.tv.
Yeah, and YouTube, same T Jones POC. Yeah.
Well, this is Grown Dad Business, and we didn't much get into your family or your child, so I'm gonna have to have you back.
Yes, definitely.
Because this was a really good talk.
Oh, it was a good talk, and you know, if anything, being I'm on Grown Dad Business, I just try to make life better for my daughter.
Absolutely.
And you know, just try to fight to make this a better place for my daughter, especially racially and everything going on.
How much does that kick you in the ass having a kid? Because I tell people when I took acting and comedy seriously, like in 2008, and then my wife's pregnant, and I'm like, oh, I got to provide for another person.
Dude,
that's why, because people are saying, how did you get so far so fast? And I'm like, well, you have a little baby you got to feed.
Yeah,
that kicks you in the ass.
The thing with my daughter, man, her being born was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And I was in a really dark place, like suicidal and stuff. And like I got new bits about suicide and depression for like Limbo Negro. But having my daughter actually saved my life. Like I remember when she was born and walking over and she was crying and she stopped crying and opened her eyes. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And like you fall in love with somebody that you never knew before. Yeah. Like that fast.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
So, it doesn't kick me in the ass. It actually motivates me, not necessarily for.
Well, that's what I mean.
Comedy.
That's what I mean.
But it motivates me to live.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, not. I'm saying like just speaking wise, like business wise.
Oh yeah.
Like comedy career. But you're absolutely right, dude. Having children, when you know that you have another person watching your behavior, it makes you a better man. Yeah. It makes you a better parent, a better person. It absolutely does.
And they love you.
Yeah.
You don't understand you don't understand why they love you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it kind of bothers
you. It's just this unconditional love.
And it bothers you a little bit because like if you're somebody that's used to it but not used to it, or if you're going through something personally, you're like, yo, why is this child love me so much? Like I don't get it. And they do. Every morning my daughter walks around the corner, runs up to me, smiles, and like hugs me. But when she hugs me, she like pats my chest because I pat her back. And it's just like she reminds me every day, like, yo, we need you here. We love you, Dad. And
it's amazing.
So business wise, I'm actually kind of happy that I had a kid now. Because I'm 29, and if I would have had her like when I was 25 or something, then I would be like a little worried. But like I at least have things on a resume,
plenty of time to mature
and everything, and comedically make some connections with people that I need and get in the right direction. Whereas like if I did it early on and then was trying to like make those connections and network and stuff, it'd be a nightmare. But
well, I know, and there's something I've noticed about you, just thinking about myself, in that you're pretty private about your fiance.
Yeah. It's going to be.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
We're going to get married.
Yeah, I have so many comedian friends that aren't married that have kids. It's pretty much your wife.
Pretty much.
But you're pretty private about her and your child, and because you're on social media a lot, and so am I.
Yeah.
And so I see that where like my kids are like have their own hashtags.
Yeah.
And I am very careful. Like, trust me, like I'm not putting like my kid's school district on there.
For sure.
Certain things, but because I know some people are like, oh, you shouldn't put your kids on there very much.
Yeah.
And but I try to do it where it's just part of my life. It's part of the funny things that happen all day.
Absolutely.
So, but for you, it's not really, you don't really put it out there very much.
I look at, on Facebook, it's easy to share my daughter because, you could just keep it within friends and stuff like that. And I don't like the idea of like, you see these kids becoming memes and stuff like that. And it's not memes you made.
Well, I've made memes of my kids.
You made memes of your kids. Yeah. You did.
Yeah,
but, somebody taking a picture of Luke the Nuke and making a meme out of it would drive you kind of insane a little bit, even if it was funny.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
absolutely.
like, yo, you just took my kid. So
that's why if I ever do something like that, I put like, put like my Aaron Kleiber on there and stuff like that, like a watermark almost.
And you have to, because it's the only way to protect them. But I'm private about it because I kind of look at entertainment like being a superhero. Because, you're who
I
you
think
are.
you've said that before, yeah.
And then like off your private life, you're Peter Parker, Clark Kent, whoever you want to be.
Right.
But the thing is, I kind of look at it where I noticed that people who are mischievous and evil try to go for the people you love. In entertainment, it feels like you're Spider-Man, like they grab Gwen Stacy or Jason Todd if you're Batman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, what is going on? But
you are nerdy.
You've had these issues where like people have said some disrespectful stuff.
Well, I had to make my Facebook private because
we know why.
Yeah, I mean, I had to make my Facebook private because it's in something. All of a sudden, someone's like, your pregnant wife looked good as hell. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Like straight disrespectful.
Yeah, and then it's like some dude that was at a show in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, are you for real? I had to make it private.
And
So if you can't friend me on Facebook, I apologize. Because
Yeah.
the bad apples ruined it for you.
For real.
I got a fan page. It'll tell you
Go to
everything you
that.
need to know. You don't need to know
Yeah.
what my kids look like on Christmas morning.
Right.
Go to my fan page.
And that's how I felt about it.
Right.
I've had people say some stuff in the past
Yeah.
that cause issues, and I know myself, where I go from, I go straight to Stringer Bell in a minute.
Yeah,
you know what
right,
I'm saying?
right.
Where I'm like, okay, well, I gotta find this dude.
Yeah.
So to prevent all that, I just try to keep it private and protect my family.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because I do feel bad sometimes where I put my kids out there, but then I'm like, you know what? It's just it's sharing this life, and it's kind of a lot of what I do on stage now. Like, I mean,
For you, yeah. Because
it's
you are the family guy.
yeah,
But
I mean, I think people like seeing that little journey, with me. It's almost like an accompaniment to my stand up on stage.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
I know you've talked a little bit about having a baby. How does that change your material? I ask all the comedians about this,
You know what?
because I know for me, it blew my mind. Like,
Well,
once I had
you
my,
have great parent material.
but
Like, as
once
a
I had
dad-
my second one, I wasn't doing it until I had my second, until my son was born, and then we had two. And I was like, whoa.
Dude, the
Like,
material
we had a
you
2-year-old
have is
and a newborn.
amazing.
Oh, it was crazy.
Your stuff is amazing. You're talking about like being a parent and you have
That's all
these
I know.
in-depth stuff.
That's all I know.
But it's a great thing for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Ow.
it
Just hit my finger on the table.
dude, don't die.
Sorry.
It has like changed my material a little bit where
Yeah.
I'm starting to talk about, parents, and
Sure.
my woman has a daughter already.
Right.
Who's 7 and she lives with us. So
Yeah.
it's like, her doing
So you're
little
like also
crazy
kind of a
stuff.
stepdad too.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got an interesting situation.
Yeah, so her being like mischievous on stuff.
Right.
And the little one running around now, there's a ton of
Right.
material. And it does change, man, because you want to talk about it.
Right.
You're like proud of it.
Absolutely.
Um,
And then you notice too, like how people connect with you.
Yeah.
Because no matter, even if people don't have kids, people like what I say.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because
absolutely.
they have a mom, they have a
it's funny.
dad, they have maybe nieces and nephews. You know
Yes.
what I mean? And yeah, you're right. Funny is funny, but it is super relatable.
It is. It's like when you talk about relationships, when you talk about sex, when you talk about, money, whatever it is, if you break it down in the right way, people are going to relate to it. So
Right.
for me, I talk about a lot of, like I had a lady come up to me the other week and she was concerned about me because of like some of the material, like the new stuff I was doing. And she's like, don't let the darkness take over your life. And I was like, no, I'm good. That's why I come on stage and we laugh
Yeah,
about
right.
it together. But I take people on a journey with my family. Like I tell the story
Right.
of, my evolution
Sure.
as a person. And then I get to like, hey, I have a kid now and this is the things that I
Right.
do. So it kind of makes people feel good and like they're rooting for you. You
Sure,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
Like, oh man, this dude's been through it and
Right,
now
right.
he's happy. So
Right.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow. Well, man, I appreciate it
No, thank you for having
so
me,
much.
bro.
I'm finally glad we can, dude, with our schedules, it's crazy.
We've been trying to do this for
like a month and a half,
yo,
at least.
maybe longer than that.
Longer than that.
You're
No,
like,
I've
hey, grown dad business. You were doing like this was
no, you're no, you
2015.
know what? I mean, you were on my list like of people to have on for a long time. So
it's just
I'm really
a matter
excited.
of me, making that
it's-
baby.
I know, yeah. That really helped. I was like, oh, he's a dad. I really got to get him on now. But no, tonight, I keep saying August 11th, Thursday, 10 p.m., Pittsburgh Improv. Sunday, 7 p.m., August 14th, Pittsburgh Improv. Doing your new album, Limbo Negro.
Limbo Negro, yes.
Yeah.
Should be fun. So everyone come out, have fun, get a laugh.
Yeah.
Let's laugh together and in harmony.
Follow T Jones POC, T Jones POC on everything. TeamTerry.tv.
Yes.
You're on
Hashtag Team
YouTube,
Terry.
all that.
Yes.
Go watch his Panther video. Panther.
Panther.
Oh my God. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
Man.
All right.